if it hasn't by this point and people haven't fully seen it, I want to say to you more and more of the Epstein is going to get released. I don't think they can contain it forever. I saw this, I just keep sensing this, that's going to come out at a major, major level. That's going to be a very serious thing. There is a hidden agenda. Now, I've prophesied this a bit, and I'm going to say there's a few signs about this. Let me talk about the signs. One is we're going to see more about this Epstein mess. There's going to be very graphic exposure. And this exposure will be shoved in the face of people. Okay? I sense this coming. I thought this was over with, and I heard a few months ago in my spirit, you're going to see another round of this. There's going to be other whistleblowers. Now, this will be used as a false flag narrative to cover over other things, but yet it's still coming. But this exposure will lead to more exposure of other things we don't even know about right now. There's going to be more exposure that comes with that. You're going to see that take place. More of this kind of pervy stuff is going to come out. You're going to see that happening. You're going to see a rise in the UFO phenomenon. You know what's going on with that? They're going to start to say more and more, they're saying, we're going to give you some serious disclosure. You're going to start to see legal actions taken for more and more disclosure of UFOs. The reason is because it's a deception, it's an antichrist spirit, and it's being geared up for a reason. So one day they can try to say, see, we're not alone in the universe. We now have proof of it, and there is no God. And so we stop that stuff, and people get this fascination with it. They get fascinated with this stuff, or the paranormal. You're going to see a rise in the paranormal, and people are going to be completely in deception and caught up in this stuff. You got to bind it. You don't look at that stuff. There has been a deafening or a silencing of something that was about to come forward a little while ago. Now, I'm shifting gears. I'm going to talk about another scenario that needs to be talked about, and it has been talked about in a little while in the public eye, because I think it was coming forward and then they pulled it back by design, because they're saving it for another opportunity. Now, this is indeed the phenomenon about UFOs and what they also call UAPs, okay? I believe that this is going to see a return to the public eye. I think this is going to have a comeback for a future purpose. And you say, why would you talk about this? Well, let me start off by saying this. There are no such thing as aliens. There are no such thing as aliens. There are no such thing as all these circumstances. Now, there could be hybrid things, genetically modified things, difficult scenarios that are going on, but all of it is induced by a demonic understanding. It is rooted and founded in a demonic understanding. That's if there's something legitimate going on. The other circumstances that are happening is it could be a ploy, it could be fake, it could be a number of things that is through technologies and ultimately leading to a mass deception. But what you really realize is at the end of the day, this is going to be a great deception and a lie. Whether something is legitimately appearing in the sky, coming to say, hey, we are God, we are doing this, whatever it is, there's coming a great deception one way or the other with this. And then in a larger scale and circumstances, you will begin to see this begin to sweep the masses in a day and a future culture. Now, will this happen today? I think there's going to be more and more as I talk about, and I'll use this word here, disclosure. Okay? They're going to talk about more and more disclosure regarding this, and this is going to get very, very serious. I can't shy away from this enough. Everything involving CERN, there's going to come more regarding this. Behind the scenes, all this falsehood with UFO stuff. I know that sounds crazy, but you're going to see more and more of this. This is an agenda. Don't forget this. This is an agenda that they're going to push. They're going to say, see, and they're going to continue with the word disclosure. Or what is this? The unexplained. You're going to hear more and more about this, and this demonic stuff is going to continue to manifest until it fully manifests in a greater capacity, only pushing forward and inducing the big, great deception.
This morning, U.S. intelligence agencies confirm hundreds of additional UAP sightings have been reported. UAP stands for Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, otherwise known as UFOs. The annual report on unidentified aerial phenomena now reveals 366 new close encounters since an agency was formed in 2021 to track them. That's more than double the number reported in the previous 17 years combined. They say it's crucial to track, investigate, and disclose reported incidents to help protect national security and safety for all Earthling flyers.
I think one of the key points in this report, given the potential hazard that UAPs do present, notably there's been no reported collisions.
A Pentagon report is detailing a dramatic increase in UFO sightings, more than 350 since 2021. Many of them are explained as being drones, birds, or weather events, but about half of them remain unexplained.
Overnight, another unidentified object shot down over the Yukon in Canada. Just a day after a U.S. fighter jet shot down an object off the northern edge of Alaska. These back-to-back mysterious objects raising urgent questions about who owns these aircraft and where they could be from.
I believe in the middle of all this that's trying to fall apart, all this that's trying to collapse, there are coming now prayer and revival centers, meaning these are those sanctuary hubs up for the anointing, for the Spirit of the Lord. You're going to see intercessors raised up like the sons of Issachar. They're going to begin to break out. They're going to begin to push back, and they're going to cut down much of this evil agenda that is happening. Do not forget this. The Lord has you alive during this time. In no way is he going to leave you. In no way is he going to forsake you. And he's raising up these hubs for supernatural revival. And that's going to happen. I heard the word, actually what I heard is the Lord is responding to this term on sanctuary cities. He's going to create sanctuary revival hubs, sanctuary places where his Spirit can move freely. These hubs of the Spirit. There are revival sanctuary areas. You're going to see it pop up all over. Revival centers, hubs, unique communities, all this. And it's all going to be for the glory of Jesus. Light will shine in darkness. Even now, there is a calling to those who have ears to hear, and a separation is at hand. A separation is at hand. A separation is here. A drawing unto me by my Spirit, says the Lord, for now is the time, the edict, the blessing, and the favor is here for, hear this word, sanctuary places. In the Spirit. Sanctuary hubs. Hubs for the Spirit of God. These are arenas of assignment, built not on man's will, but God's will. These are established for a time from now. They're established for a time to come. I see an hour coming, a time coming, when the Lord has need of these locations. And God is setting them apart. Some have heard the word early. Some are hearing the word now. And God is setting these places apart. You will see a special revival, holiness anointing on many different locations around the nation and the nations. And there will be a special separation. Holiness hubs, hubs of the glory, sanctuary areas for the Spirit of God. And they're going to pop up in unique places and unique areas. And God is saying, my Spirit is upon them. Many have had ears to hear in advance, and some are hearing now, and there's just enough time.
On a Friday night at Asbury University, a chapel service doesn't really seem all that unusual. For the people here tonight, though, this is something different. This is what a 10 a.m. Wednesday service has become.
It just never stopped. People just never left, never went to class, never went to lunch, and then later people started coming back to chapel.
Administrators here say this kind of thing has happened a few times over the years. In February 1970, there was one that went on for 144 hours. However long it goes this time, they hope it leaves an impact.
Near-Earth objects, okay, that's going to become very much a household conversation. Near-Earth objects, where you start to see things coming through the atmosphere, people talking about it. That's going to get really serious. And it's almost like we're being prepared psychologically for increased risk of meteors and asteroids. What specifically I'm talking about is the topic of meteoroids. And I believe we're going to have 3 experiences. Lord often speaks to me in threes. 3 experiences. My sense is that there will be a miss, another miss, and then a hit. And I think that they already know that this kind of stuff's happening. Now, when, where, how, what, all this, we can get into all that. We can speculate. I don't want to speculate, but this is my sense. And so what do? Well, we pray, don't we? We begin to pray.
A meteorite slammed into the ground in South Texas last night. You could hear the boom and see birds fly from this home camera. Today, local and federal authorities are searching for the space rock west of McAllen. Residents described windows rattling and an earthquake-like shake. National Weather Service says it was bright enough for its satellites to detect it, and the pilots of 2 aircraft reported sightings.
The young lions will come. You will see young people, and here will be the sign of them. They will say, I ain't changing my anatomy this way. I'm not going down that road. I'm going to actually rebel by being righteous. The new trend of rebellion is going to be called acting righteous. Good behavior, good morals, good discipline, acting like a warrior. The young lions are coming, and the young lions will rise up, and they will rebel against rebellion. We're going to begin to see young people change this. And you're going to begin to see a greater sense of real love. And I believe this is something that's going to be like a movement. And they won't know what to do with it when you begin to see all these different racial communities embracing one another more than ever before. Because people, by and large, when you see people out in public together and they're talking, people don't want to hate each other. That's not, it's a narrative they're pushing so hard. And I'll tell you, you're going to begin to see more and more of real acceptance, and you're going to see this. And this is going to be a sign of the young lions. The young lions coming, you'll begin to see more and more people of different ethnic backgrounds that talk different, that walk different, that act different. But there's going to be a unification, like almost when we're talking about revival, and everybody's talking about a great awakening and the revival of the Lord, I believe something powerful is going to begin to happen where you're going to begin to see the young bringing change, and real love is going to happen. And it's not going to be the fake kind of wokey junk. I'm talking about real racial embracing. And there's going to be this, and it's going to be a form, and I'll put it in red. This is going to be one of the hallmarks of revival. All right? Real revival, and there's going to be love and real racial reconciliation. I believe that's going to be part of the hallmark of this next awakening, that people are going to get so over their own stuff that they say, I love you, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. You don't owe me. I don't owe you, but I love you. I love you, and I'm so grateful. You know, you're going to see this, okay? That's going to be part of the next great revival. I believe racial embracing will be part of the next revival. You're going to see this, and it's just something that's taking place here that I believe God is doing, and there's going to be a humility that comes with this. What we're dealing with regarding all of this narrative of things in the sky and what's going on, from the moment the first balloon came across the scene and the first balloon manifested on the horizon, and they said, oh no, we don't know how it got here. It drifted across the ocean, and the next thing you know, it's in Alaska, and then, oh, it drifted down through Canada. What do you know? It's over Montana. Oh boy, we got another one over here in the Carolinas, and we got another one over here. What is going on here? Well, it's obviously the Red Dragon, right? They go down the road with that. Now, what I want to say about this is, although there's truth in some of that narrative, because we know the Red Dragon owns the Manchurian candidate that made all the deals with his boy and whatnot over in the other nation with the dancing pervert, and you see all that and you say, well, who are you talking about? I'm talking about the guy that we're sending all of our taxpayer resources to, that puts out pervert videos where he's dancing around like a yoo-hoo flu, right? Anyway, and so when you're looking at this, the immediate question becomes, what are we looking at? Well, let me also add this. Article after article now is coming out saying, well, they can't quite identify the type of object that they're seeing. One of the objects was, it was kind of octagonal in shape, and it was the size of a car. Another one was cylindrical. It was like a cylinder flying through the air. It was just there. They didn't really understand the propulsion system. One pilot saw it one way, one saw it another. Now, what they're really trying to say, and this is something that we've prophesied quite a bit, the Spirit of the Lord showed us and prophesied to us, is that there was going to be this UFO narrative. And that is what the innuendo is, that these are UFOs, straight up aliens. And that's what, that is what one of the governmental officials even said. They said, we are not, this is a Fox News article, we are not ruling out aliens. Okay? So, first of all, I know they're going to do a false flag narrative with aliens eventually, either with technology, real nefarious things that are going on with fallen angels and that wickedness, or you're going to begin to see some kind of, revealing of technology, and ultimately it is for a deception of the masses. I believe it's going there. Now, if this is the beginning part of this, this is like way early, and they're doing it really dumb. But it may end up being some of that, and they might actually say, actually, we can't believe it, we're actually saying this, but this is UFOs. They may come out and say that. Straight up say, we have no explanation for these strange craft we had to take down from the sky. And here's what the deal is. My sense about this, whatever narrative they come out with for an explanation, this is a false flag. Why? Well, because they're trying to cover up the big guy. They're trying to cover up what's gone on in these nations. They're trying to cover up what's actually happening with our economy. They're trying to cover up what's actually going on in regards to the way they're being looked at and examined, and the fact that all these, anybody remember the guy who had the Corvette and all the papers? Anybody remember that? Where'd that go? That information's still in process. And so they're trying to offset a lot of this. And of course, you got the Sonny boy with the computer that ended up at the shop, and they found all the stuff on it and all the business dealings, and nobody's really dealing with this the way they should be. And then you see all these things rapidly right in front of you. Now, another thing that's hitting the news that the Lord prophesied to us, hear this, okay, is this Epstein list. I don't know if you were part of our broadcast about 3 months ago, but I began to release this word on the whiteboard at that moment where I saw the Epstein list actually coming out and going in the mainstream news. Not just a conspiracy list, not just people saying, I think this is what it is, or you go and find a little, sites online where they show you the ideas of who might be on the list and whatnot. They are saying now that they're actually going to release it, as the Lord told us would happen, that they will actually release the actual list to the public on mainstream networks. Now, if they do this, that's small news, okay? Like we hear all the time, it should be big news, but it's small news on the grand scheme of things. The big news right now is, what are all these things floating around in the sky all over the nation to bring fear, anxiety, and they can't quite identify it. Oh, it must be China. It's China. And the truth is, China is coming out and saying, this is from you guys. That's what they're saying. Now, who do you believe? I don't know. It's like pick your deceiver, right? Pick your deceiver, left or right. Which way you want to go here? And so that's not even the issue. The issue is regardless of who's doing what, and it'll probably shake out only a little bit, and we won't really ever know the full story. But here's what's really going on. It is a false flag narrative. False flags all the way. That's what's happening here. That's what's happening. Now, the good news in this picture, in the prophetic sense I have, is I have hope, because the Spirit of the Lord showed me that in the springtime there was going to come this pressure, that the first one was going to be this January that we've already come through, and in January there was going to be an intervention of something that was trying to manifest. Now, then I saw some crazy events trying to accumulate, and I believe everything from battle, war, difficulty, global conflict, all this that's trying to accelerate suddenly, which it's already happening. And ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know this already, we're already headed for WW3. If we're not in it already on a global scale in different countries, there's only we're one spark event away from global conflict. Okay, we're like right there. And in the USA and some of the nations, you don't have as much exposure to this because we're so busy being caught up in our daily routine. We're not really understanding the severity of what's going on right now on a global scale. But I have also really hopeful words at this. I did see something that no matter how bad it gets, and it could get very bad, that between now and spring, there's going to be all of these things that continue to daisy chain and compound and come all the way to around the month of April. And I don't know why I'm seeing the month of April, but something about the month of April that I see, I saw the word intervention and the Lord stopping something. Many people start their journey out stronger. They get excited. They begin to go down an avenue, but they don't quite reach their destination. Here's why I think that is. Oftentimes people come together, say, let's do X, Y, or Z. Let's accomplish something. And midway through, they hit storms, they hit trials, they hit difficulties. Now, the days we're living in right now, in the culture we're in, is no exception to that rule. It's a challenging season. And as it continues to get intense, as the Bible promises it will, we got to continue to rise up and meet this culture and meet the generation, because our children's children are waiting on us with the message of the promise. And that's the gospel of Jesus Christ. So let's take a look at this if we could. I want you to see some things. And as we do, I want you to think of this phrase in your mind. When inspiration leaves you, and let me say this to you, and it leaves everybody, there's a time that you'll say, my goodness, I really want to do this, I'm inspired, but there'll be days and times, and sometimes more than you care to want to really experience, that inspiration will not be there. What do you do when you don't feel inspired? What do you do when the world seems like it's shouting at you? What do you do when these difficult things continue to come forward? Well, first and foremost, let me say this, in that as a response to that question, is that sometimes when people say, I need to feel inspired, well, as one writer put it, every professional's inspiration comes at 6 a.m. every morning. In other words, they just get inspired when they don't feel inspired by doing their work, okay? Now, in this, if your inspiration leaves you or you don't feel the momentum you felt and you still have to be productive and you still have to do what God called you to do and you still have to rise to the occasion, well, what does that leave you with? You will always fall to the level of your training. You never rise above it. You always fall to the level of your training, or rarely do you rise above it unless you're in a very special moment and all of that. But typically you fall to the level of your training. And if you fall below the level of your training, the very basis of what you're going to fall to in life, in your experience of getting things accomplished, doing what God's called you to do, is the level of your discipline. Okay? It starts and stops with your discipline. So it starts, I should say it this way, you'll fall to the level of your training, but after your training comes discipline. In other words, what are you willing to bear to get the job done? Now, that doesn't sound very positive sometimes, but it actually is highly positive when you start to understand it. There is nothing that brings you more pleasure than discipline. You can have a fix with something, you can get something instantaneously, you can get things in the moment to kind of suppress and get you through a moment. That's why this culture is addicted to sugar. That's why this culture likes substances. That's why this culture is addicted to entertainment. But that does not bring you the results you're looking for. Only discipline will, in the long run, give you the reward of permanent pleasure or lasting pleasure. So let me give you an example. Many people in life, they want to build things that are not really made to last. They want to build it day to day, fix to fix, meaning a dopamine hit, something that just gives them that sudden hit again and again and again. And they want to build life that way. And the problem is people try to build relationships that way. They try to build their future that way, and it will not do it. And it's unlikely that you'll finish strong in that capacity. Let me give you a scripture from Matthew. It says in Matthew chapter 7 and verse 24. Now, this is Jesus talking about people that will say, Lord, Lord, did I not drive out demons? Did I not prophesy? Did I not do all these things in your name? And he'll say, depart from me, I never knew you. He goes into all of that narrative, but here we see something very powerful. Verse 24. Jesus is speaking, and he says, therefore, whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them. Boy, what a difference. I hope you're paying attention. It's not enough to be hearers of the word only, as it says in James, but you must be doers of the word. And the book of James actually goes beyond that. It doesn't say be doers of the word. It says be doers of the work. Come on. That's an anointed word. In some circles, that's a 4-letter word. But I'll tell you what, here, it's an anointed word. W-O-R-K, work, right? So you realize that it's saying, whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him to a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain descended, the floods came, the winds blew and beat on that house, and it did not fall, for it was founded on the rock. I like this. Now look at the antithesis of that, verse 26. But everyone who hears these sayings of mine and does not do them, they're not doers, they're just hearers. I hope you're listening. Will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. Verse 27. And the rain descended, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, and it fell. And great was its fall. I'm sure you've noticed we are in a collision with good and evil, light and darkness. I'm Joseph Z, and I just wrote this book. It's a prophetic book talking about how to break hell's economy. I believe this is a now word, a prophetic word for this generation that will break you through and give you hope for the future. Order your copy today. Well, I am so glad you joined us today. You know, we have a lot happening in this ministry, and it's because of monthly partners that helps us continue reaching people by the millions. Currently, we have a project, and it's called the Diamond Air 62 Project. Affectionately, we call it the Red Eagle 1 campaign. This aircraft can take up to 7 people. We can travel anywhere in the nation, and as mandates get stricter and the times get more and more difficult, we believe we will have our own ability to travel and be a blessing to people all over at no cost to them. I encourage you to become a partner today. You can do that by going to josephz.com, or you can text the keyword GIVE to 719-259-0029. If you partner today, you're going to find that there is a great partner care in our ministry that will reach out to you. They will love you. Different team members will be contacting you. They'll pray with you. They will prophesy to you. They're just going to love on you. And I got to tell you, our partner care is wonderful. These guys love you, and they're looking forward to talking to you. Another thing I want to say to you is please consider signing up for our email list. You want to sign up so we can stay in contact because we're building new platforms all the time. If the social media becomes more stringent or difficult, or maybe you just can't find us, if you sign up for our email list, it'll be a tremendous blessing for you and for us, and we can stay in touch and you can find where we are all the time. Thank you so much for watching today. Jesus is Lord, and I want to say a great thank you to the partners and friends of this ministry. Together, I think we can change the world.